I think we're live.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Wherever you're watching this live session, whether you are in Nigeria, New Zealand, Australia, saying hi to you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Question and Answer with do share what is happening live. This is happening live. I want you to drop a comment. Drop a comment, your name and your location where you are watching the live video from. It's gonna be an exciting section tonight. I don't want to lose focus. If you have any question, but we have not sent your question. If you have any question, just be dropping the question. That your relationship question you're trying to ask. You're having free counseling session now. Free counsel. You don't have to pay for this one. Having a free session. So get ready to get all your answers, your questions, all your questions answered. Okay, so we're going to be very quick tonight here so that people will be able to watch the replay of this video. Yes, we're going to be very quick tonight. So I'm going to welcome the amazing president of Denmark. I'm going to welcome her. Please celebrate my mentor. Please celebrate her. Celebrate her. Comment and celebrate her. She's doing a whole lot for this community. I'm having a community. Please celebrate her. Yeah. Welcome, ma.
Thank you so much.
So, yes, I don't know what this memo is all about. Please can you just tell us so much on what memo is all about? So, some of our new members need to know what this community is all about. So it wouldn't be like just something myself. So please touch more light on what memo is all about.
All right. Thank you so much, Blessing. Thank you so much for the welcome, the warm welcome, and hello, everyone. Can you all hear us? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, type loud and clear in the comment section. If you can hear me, I want you to type loud and clear in the comment section. It's important that you can hear us and let us know where you're watching from, like Blessing said. Let us know where you're watching from. Right. So my name is Blessing Ekundayo. For some of you who are yet to meet me, my name is Blessing Ekundayo. And by God's grace, I'm a relationship coach. I'm also a medical doctor. I'm a psychiatric registrar based in New Zealand. All right. And God's mandate upon my life is to help singles, especially single ladies, discover their values so that they can attract men of value and have the marriage of their dreams. So that's God's mandate upon my life. And I don't know where you're watching this from. I know we're streaming to my YouTube channel. It's also on my Facebook profile. But majorly, we are doing this on my relationship Facebook group. It's called Relationship and Health Matters with Dudu Shewa. Okay, Relationship and Health Matters with Dudu Shewa. Right, and we created this group about 2 years ago, actually. About 2 years ago, and the vision of God for this group is to help singles, is to help couples, be able to have clarity about relationship, about marriage, so that they can actually, be able to do all that God has committed to do in their lives, even through their marriage, through their relationship. We want to help marriages develop. We want to help people develop healthy relationships. Okay, so we provide educational posts on Rema and also in regards to people's health. Okay, we provide some health tips. I know that in the last 1 year we haven't been so active, but by God's grace, we want to bounce back, right? We want to bounce back. I want to continue to do what God has laid upon our hearts to do. Right. So if you can hear us, I want you to please type in the comment section loud and clear. Loud and clear. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. That I mean, we're doing a whole lot of work and having to see different people posting in the. It's not like it's just we posting in Rema. You have opportunity, people are sharing their own relationship story, and other people are learning from each other. Just like a community where you learn, unlearn, and learn again. So it's a
Yes, sir.
beautiful community. So if you want to see this video by passing, you need to join the Rema community on Facebook. There is a whole lot that is going on there. You need to be there. And if you are a relationship coach or you're somebody that's very passionate about relationship, you usually get content you want to share. You're passionate about helping people, get it right, just a vision. You need to, come share your posts there. Some people you don't have a large audience that can, see your posts or your content and some of the deep word that God is giving to you. You can come in and, share it on Rema and bless lives. So you can also be a blessing while you are being blessed in the community. Yeah, so tonight we're going to be okay. So those of you so in the morning, afternoon. So for Nigeria, this is now. So we're going to be answering your relationship question, and we have some questions that we got from some persons. So, like I said, if you have any question, you want to begin to drop those questions. And now, like she said, we haven't been asking you why. But guess what, guys? We are going to be giving you guys back-to-back live section every month where you are going to be fed. You're going to be fed on relationship and health matters because I know those things are very, very important. So you're going to be really fed. Get ready every month at a live session like this, where we come here and discuss important destiny sensitive issues. Guys, okay, so we're going to be very quick. Like I said, I'm going to ask the first question. And like I said, if you have any question, please drop the question. I'm going to ask the first question that I got from some persons. Why some people are dropping their question? So this is the first question I want to ask. Remember, guys, this is the relationship question and answer section. And like I said before, if you have any question, please kindly drop it. We will answer your question tonight. And we cannot answer your question tonight. We're having different live sections. We can be able to answer it in our other live sections. So don't feel like, oh, they will not answer my question. We are going to answer your question. Okay, the first question I'm going to ask you tonight is someone was asking, how do you keep a long distance relationship that will lead to marriage? So because I've seen some persons, oh, I'm dating a guy, I'm in Nigeria, I'm dating a guy, the guy is outside Nigeria, and I'm not feeling the communication. How do I even know that this relationship will lead to marriage? I mean, it's just what if under his eye is having another woman or somebody will just come to his life? I mean, some people don't feel this long distance relationship. Can you so how do I keep a long distance that will lead to marriage? Because I don't know, but most times I don't think that some persons who keep a long distance relationship that leads to marriage. So how do you? Because you did it. So how
Yes, I did it. It's a very interesting question, blessing. But God help my husband and I, we're in a long distance relationship for 5 years. So I could spend the whole day actually talking about long distance relationship. Okay, so how do you the question is how do you keep a long distance relationship that will lead to marriage? Like if I got that right. Yes,
Yes,
yes. So I think
ma'am.
the first thing is to actually realize that it's a long distance relationship, it's not cut out for everybody. So before you get yourself involved in a long distance relationship, you need to check that I can do this kind of thing because some people, for example, some people are so paranoid. Even when the person is in front of them like this, the person they are dating or the person they're in a relationship with. Oh, I think we lost blessing there because of internet. But we'll go on. Some people are so paranoid, yeah, that even when they're in a relationship with someone, like the person they can see with their eyes like this, they are still suspicious that you're cheating on me. Or you're dating somebody else, you're not giving me enough time, and they're still not satisfied. And if you're that kind of person, you want you know if the person is away from you, if the person is away from you, blessing. If I ask you to sort of mute your own mic so that I'm hearing myself, blessing. Can you mute yourself so that I think it's echoing. Yeah, just while I'm talking, it's sort of echoing. If you could please mute your own mic at your end. And while I'm here sort of hearing myself. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. All right. So also I was saying that some people, even when they are seeing that person, they are still suspicious of the person that they're in relationship with, and they're like, ah, you're dating somebody else. You're not giving me enough time or attention and everything, and if you are that kind of person and you want the person to be with you like physically, then definitely just know that long distance relationship, it cannot work for you. You need to know yourself to start with. Okay, you need to know what you want in life, right? That being said, if you're in a long distance relationship also, you need to be sure where are we, like, what is the purpose of this relationship, like, if you were dating somebody physically and then for some reason person maybe had to go for a job or had to go for their masters or whatever, right? You need to be able to have a goal in mind. Okay, are we what, as in, define that relationship you are in first of all. Are you really in a relationship, or it's just in your head that you're in a relationship? And what is the purpose of that relationship? Because I remember when my husband and I started dating, we got into our relationship, we had something in mind. We knew that even though we're not engaged yet, but the goal was to get married, right? When my husband asked me to be his girlfriend, he gave me his vision, like, okay, I want us to get married. The goal was marriage. Marriage was at the back of our mind, right? Even though we knew that we're not going to get married now, 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 now. For example, I told him when we started, having a conversation, that I wasn't interested in getting married until after my medical training, medical school, right? So it meant that he was ready to wait for me for that length of time. At the time I met him, we hadn't even started like I hadn't even gotten to the medical school yet, right? So you have to be clear that the relationship has to be defined. What are we in a relationship for? Because the person you are in a relationship with may not actually have marriage in mind. So if you are going into a long
Wow.
distance relationship and that person does not intend to get married to you, you are just dating yourself. Like, you are just
I love
on your own.
it.
Yeah. So, but if you are in a long distance relationship, right? Thank you so much. I can see my husband sending me all the love, all the comments. I love you, baby. God bless you. Yeah. So, but if you're in a long relationship, yeah, that is defined, and you know that you want that relationship to lead to marriage, right? There's quite a number of things that you need to do to make sure that you make the relationship work. Right. Right. So, if for example, I think one of the things that you should do, or the major thing that you have to do about my husband is not serious. Babe,
That's
stop having a meeting now.
you can say number one answer.
You can
You
call
do.
the numbers, then stop all my numbers. My husband is hilarious. I love you, darling. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thanks for your support. All right. So, yeah. So I think one thing that is important for a long distance relationship lesson is that you've got to be intentional. And I don't know if there's anybody watching me here. If you're in a relationship, one thing is critical for your relationship to succeed into marriage is that you've got to be intentional. Okay. And being intentional cuts across so many things. Okay. Cuts across your communication, for example. You've got to be intentional about communicating regularly. Like, you cannot, you don't have a choice because you can't see each other. I remember when my husband and I were, in a relationship at the time, long distance relationship, we were communicating every single day. Like, communication is the food of a relationship. It's the engine of the relationship. I like to say that if there is no relationship, that matter of time, that relationship, even marriage, is going to die. Like, it's just a matter of time, right? If you're not having conversations
Yeah.
regularly every single day, when my husband and I were, in a relationship, then we'll call, as in, I would be the one to wake him up. Despite the distance, like I'll call him. It will be evening at our own end, to the morning at their end in New Zealand. I'll call him to wake him up. We'll pray together. When he's on the break at work, we'll call again. When he's about to go to bed, to go to the morning at my end, we'll call again. Like it was round the clock. Yeah, so you've got to communicate it. Line of communication going. You don't have a choice. Like it's got to go on. Okay, you've got to be intentional about expressing your love for each other. Like because you can't see each other, so somehow, the person listen that your heart is still with them, or their heart like somehow, or else you begin to feel like you're unloved. Is that right? You begin to feel you're unloved in that relationship, right? So speak each other's love language. Find languages. Find a way to communicate that person's love language. For example, when my husband and I were dating, in a long distance or in a relationship at the time, in a long distance relationship, my husband would send me gifts regularly, just for me to know that he's thinking about me. He'll send me gifts regularly, show me of his love for me. And guys, don't say, "Oh, I love you now. I love you." I don't have to say, "Oh, I love you every single day." See, like, for example, in a long
Encourage
distance,
us.
I know it's hard. It's hard. I'll tell you something, blessing. That was when I was in a relationship, when my husband and I were still 14. I was in medical school then, right? And there were guys who were trying to, you know, um, we call it chiking then, was like toasting, trying to woo me, and one of them was actually so serious. At this time I was engaged to my husband to married. One of them was so serious, and I told him, see, I can't date you. I'm in a relationship. And the guy actually told me, he said, what do you mean by your relationship? With the person that you cannot see? You even know what that guy is doing where he is? Like he told me point blank, and he was telling me how much he had the heart for me and all of that. And imagine if I was in a relationship with a guy who was not telling me all the sweet things, and there's this guy I can see face to face, like kuro eye, who's telling me all these sweet nothings. If I'm not getting, if I don't feel loved by the person that I'm in a relationship with, it's likely that I will probably fall for the other person. So you both of you have to keep speaking each other's love language. Because long distance relationship, it is not easy at all. My husband will tell me about all sorts of ladies at the time who tried to, you know, get his heart. Some people even come to his house and sit down there and be like, it's me and you today. So you've got to be intentional about that communication. You've got to be intentional about it's you don't have a choice, like expressing your love for people. Also, I think you've got to be intentional. The fourth thing is you've got to be intentional about transparency. You cannot afford to miss in the long distance relationship. Both of you have to be vulnerable to be able to express what is happening in your life, right? Don't keep things secret. Don't make anything secret. My husband and I think that was one thing that actually helped both of us. There was no secrets in our relationship. We didn't have secrets, right? Everything that was happening, the one that toasted me today, the one that that came to visit me, he knows about them. And people around us, anybody around me knows that blessing is a relationship. In fact, let me tell you something. When I was in school, we had a double bunk, right? I was in the lower bunk. My husband had sent me pictures, his own pictures, because we hadn't seen yet, right? Oh, see, if you want to know all about my story, our love story, right? It's my book, Love Beyond Borders. Okay, that's our love story, Love Beyond Borders: Secret to Successful Long Distance Relationship, right? So I was in school, and all over the wall of my bunk had his pictures. His pictures were there. So whenever brothers come to visit me, as in with something, with an intention in their heart, I don't even need to say anything. I don't need to say that I'm in a relationship. You just see it as in, these pictures speak for them. They speak for themselves. Like, okay, there was nothing to hide. There was nothing to hide, and that's because to start
Yeah.
our relationship was defined. defined. We knew where we were headed with that relationship. So when you're in a long distance relationship or any relationship at all, make sure you define the relationship. There is nothing to hide in a relationship. And I'm not saying you should go on good evening. I'm not sure you should go up, to social media to publicize your relationship or anything like that, right? But people around you need to know that this girl, this guy has somebody. And it's the same thing with my husband. While we were separate, he ensured he told people that I've got a girlfriend, I've got a fiance. I cannot date you. We cannot have anything to do together. It gives the other person confidence and trust, right? So transparency, intentionality about transparency. I think we lost blessing there. Very, very important. The other thing that I think it's very important is sacrifice. If you're going to have a long distance relationship and it's going to be successful, you've got to be ready to sacrifice. Like you can't just do like you don't have a choice. Yeah, you've got to be ready to sacrifice. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of hard work, right? You sacrificing your time, your energy, your money, your resources. It's you must be ready to spend money. Yeah, like you don't have a choice whether you spend money on the data or phone calls. When my husband and I were still in a relationship courting, then my mom used to give me like 35,000 naira for pocket money, and I would spend at least half of that money on phone calls. At that time, was there WhatsApp? I don't think there was WhatsApp. There was no WhatsApp then. We had like BlackBerry and things like that. So we used to chat on BlackBerry, BB, yeah, all of those things. Yeah, there was no WhatsApp then. So I would spend a lot of money. It's expensive. Yeah, it's expensive to have a long distance relationship, and you must be ready to spend that money. No choice, man. So I think sacrifice is one thing, yeah, and spend your time. Don't say you don't have time. See, if you're in a long distance relationship with somebody who doesn't have time for you, who continues to give you excuses why they cannot call, why they cannot text, why they cannot give you any attention, that's a red flag. It's a red flag. It means that the person is not going to have time for you. It means that you are not priority for that person. So there is no point continuing in that relationship. It's a red flag, right? And I think the last thing, there's so much I can say about long distance relationship, right? I can talk from today to tomorrow about long distance relationship, but I want to encourage you to go and get my book, Love Beyond Borders: Secrets to a Successful Long Distance Relationship, right? It's on Amazon. Okay, find that book. The last thing I think that is important for a long distance relationship to succeed, right, into marriage is what I would call, let me see, I think I've said a lot about you, both of you actually finding time to come together occasionally to actually see face to face. So it's good that you both of you visit each other. I would encourage you to visit each other, right? My husband and I visited each other, I think twice. Don't say you want to be like us though, because ours was unique, ours was different. Okay, depending on what you can afford and depending on the distance between you, but ours was between Nigeria and New Zealand, and that is a big distance. So at the time we couldn't afford it, not because we didn't want to see each other, but we couldn't afford it. But we still made time to see um each other at the time. So visit each other because it's important. That person that you're not in that relationship with, you could give the person a surprise visit. For example, if both of you are living in the same country, right? Maybe different states, but in the same country, you want to know what that person is like in their elements, right? So it's important that you find time to visit, right? One of you just decide to see each other to foster the relationship so the relationship can grow, go for dates. Yeah. So many things. I can go on, and we have quite a number of questions today. So I will stop here. Thank you, Blessing. Blessing, are you there?
It was that. Yes, I'm there. You literally, it was just a book. You just gave us a short book right now.
I know.
Anyways, I posted the link to Love Beyond Borders, so you should go and get that book if you're in a long distance relation or you don't know how to keep a long distance relation. Some people can say that I can't do Nigeria. I like dating guys from afar. So go and get that book. So my next question we're going to analyze is number 2. How can I manage conflict in a relationship are losing us in the process. How? I'm in a relationship. Somebody's asking, how can they manage conflicts without losing that relationship, the uniqueness, the beauty, the love in that relationship?
That's a
So,
really good question.
conflict has actually separated a lot of people. So, how can they manage it? We
Mm,
can't do it. It is not possible that we'll be in a relationship and there will not be conflicts. But how do we manage? We know it's manageable, but how can we manage it?
mm. I think it's a very interesting question. Um, and what I would like to say is to start with, conflict is inevitable. Okay. In a relationship,
Yeah.
any kind of relationship to start with, it is inevitable because both of you are coming from different backgrounds. You know, both of you have different
Yeah.
experiences in life, different exposure, um, different things. Both of you are built differently. For example, a man is different from a woman, so you will definitely see things differently or some things differently. You know, but as in how you manage it depends on a lot of wisdom. Okay, and having said that, I think one thing that is important to bear in mind is how you manage conflict in marriage different from how you actually manage conflict outside of marriage. Why? Because marriage is for life, okay? But in a relationship, you
Yes.
are supposed to see
Yes.
whether both of you are compatible. Because
Yeah.
it's that you're experiencing in that relationship could actually be like red flag, run for your life, red flag.
Yeah.
You need to really be don't just say I'm going to die here. You're not married yet. So one thing I think is important
Mm.
to think about is what is the bone of contention? Why are we having this conflict? You know, all the time. What are we fighting about? What are we arguing about? You know, how often are we arguing about this thing? You know, how important? Ask yourself those questions. How important is this topic to me that we are fighting about, that we are having issues about?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you'll be able to actually understand or realize or discover, you know, what is important for you in that relationship. I think the first thing is when we talk about what you're fighting about or what you're having conflict over, is it something that has to do with your core values? You know, is it something that has to do with what you value so much? Like you cannot do without this. For example, if I'm in a relationship with a guy who continues to drink alcohol, gets drunk all the time, and I keep shouting like I'm angry, I don't like the way you get drunk. I don't like this. I don't like alcohol. And every time the guy is apologizing to me, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I won't do it again. And blah 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 blah. And tomorrow again, he's going to take alcohol and he's drunk, and we're always fighting about it. Now I need to ask myself: is alcohol, drinking alcohol, part of my core values? If I cannot stand a man drinking
Mm.
all the time, right? There is no point trying to settle that relationship. It's a red flag. I need to run away and leave the guy. Else you will lose
Yes.
yourself in the process. Because people do not change. People do not change in marriage. They won't just become yeah, we walk down the aisle and then on the day of marriage, bam, I'm a brand new person. It's a lie. You are still the same person. Nothing changes just because you got married. Nothing changes. It's the same person that walked to the altar,
Mm.
same guy that is a humanizer that walks to the altar that I get married to. It's the same guy that will walk out of the altar, you know, and it's still the same humanizer if it has not changed. So it's not because he got married that it's going to change. No. The girl that doesn't know how to look after herself is
Mm.
that same girl that you get married to. She goes to your house. She still remains the same person. Right? So do not think
Mm.
that people are going to just change automatically. If you continue to have those conflicts in a relationship, right, it means that it's a red flag all the time. This you're fighting over
Yes.
the same issue. Ask yourself, what are we fighting about? Now, if it's not part of your core values, you know, your core values are what define you, you know, what makes you you, right? For example, one of my core values is respect. If I'm in a relationship with somebody who doesn't respect me, like I can't. Like I can't. Or does not respect people, does not respect my parents. It's not possible. We'll keep fighting, and I cannot continue to be with the other person. However, that being said, if we are clear, okay, if we are clear that by God's grace we are meant for each other. Okay, if we are clear that by God's grace, God has a, we understand that God has purpose for us for this relationship. Because the truth of the matter is, even when you're God's child, you know God and all of that, the devil will still fight with and I remember when I was dating when my husband and I were in marriage, we had lots of misunderstandings, over little things that shouldn't even even towards the marriage. We had conflict about cake, wedding cake. Whether I was like, "Must you have a wedding cake?" I'm like, "Can you do wedding without having a wedding cake? Please help me, please." Who does wedding without a cake? You know, we had misunderstandings because of the price of the cake that I wanted to buy. So, anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that you need to be clear, right? And once you're sure that God wants this for you, then when you have a situation that bothers you all the time, right? Have a chat with that person. If you're in a relationship with somebody that you cannot actually say your mind to, and you are scared of that person because you don't know what the person is going to say or do, that's a red flag. If you cannot actually open up, express yourself in a relationship, that's a red flag. Because I mean, let me tell you the truth, guys. People would always present their best in a relationship, and they give you their rest in marriage. So if that person is not already giving you, if the person's best, you're seeing as your worst, like I can't handle, I can't deal. This is too much for me. Forget that's a red flag, right? So find a good time, right, to have a conversation with that person. It could be that both of you go out for a lunch, you know, and while you're at it, the person is calm, cool, collected, relaxed. Not when the person is on the edge, stressed at work, yeah, all of that. So have a good time to communicate about what's on your mind, and express yourself. Something that my husband does this is whenever he's upset about anything that I've done, he'll tell me, "Babe, I need to tell you about something. I need to tell you my mind. And I want you to listen to me. I don't want you to defend yourself." Because he knows that if he starts like I'm like, "Ah, no, no, but it's what." So once he tells me that, I will just calm down. Okay, I know that
I
I'll just calm down and relax, right? I'll calm down and listen to what he has to say. I know that there must be something on his mind. So find a good time to talk about it, right? Express yourself. And when you're expressing yourself, when handling conflict, don't criticize the other person. Don't say, "You didn't do this, you didn't do that, you did this. No, 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 no. Because that way the other person is also going to react by defending themselves because the person will feel attacked by you. Okay? So
yeah.
when when trying to sort out conflict, right? Ask the person, tell the person how you feel. This is how I feel about this attitude of yours. Okay. I don't like the fact that you are always so close to ladies. Like you always my husband, there was a time my husband what's it called? Not what we're in a relationship. He will take pictures with ladies and he will hook them like this. I'm like, "Sweetheart, I don't like it." Like, I don't like it. So express yourself. And you tell me, they're just my sisters. Nothing is there. And me, I don't like it. It doesn't. So be free to express how you feel. I feel that I feel this way. I feel that way. I'll prefer that. These are done this way. Things are done this way, rather than you do this, you do this, you don't do this. Right? Okay. So the person understands how you feel. Right? And then give time for the other person to also express themselves. Right? And listen to what they're saying. Right? Are we still together? I can see quite a number of people are on the live stream. I want you guys to leave a comment if you are being blessed, if you are getting anything from what we are saying. Okay, I don't blessing and I are having a conversation, but we also want you to engage with us in this conversation, right?
Yeah.
So if you're getting blessed, I want you to type it in the comment section if this is touching your heart in any way, or if you're resonating, if it resonates with you in any way. So please leave a comment for us and let us know. And if you have a question, also leave a comment for us, right? So yeah, and listen to the other person, like I was saying. Listen to the other person, and both of you should find a way to meet in the middle. If you cannot, yeah, if you cannot agree, find a way to meet in the middle, right? If you're in a relationship, yeah, check it. Conflicts all the time could be that both of you are not compatible. Okay, compatible in some areas of your life. Compatibility is key, and those things you are seeing in the relationship. Okay, if they're not dealt with, you're going to see them. You're going to see them in marriage. No choice. Like you can't prevent it, right? So that's where I'm going to stop. So we can go to the questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I mean, I hope you guys are getting value for this session.
Yes,
Like,
so
you're getting value. Whole lot is flowing. I mean, it's a whole lot. This is called master class. This is what Dr. Samuel called master class. This is master class. So I'm gonna ask the second to last question, and this is, how do I tell? So what is that? How do I tell that I'm ready for marriage? How
say it
do I
again.
tell that I'm ready for marriage? How do I tell that I am ready for marriage? How
How do I
can
tell
a
that I'm
lady
ready for
know,
marriage?
or how can a guy? Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. How can you
How
tell
can
that you're
I
ready?
tell that I'm ready for marriage? Yes, because I get a sign. I mean, like a sign. I think that I will need to have to confirm that I'm actually ready for marriage. So I need to know, like somebody is asking, so I can make that shot. Can you play that you're ready? So
Yes, so how can you tell that you're ready for marriage? That's a really good question. See, a lot of times some people are so excited to get into marriage. Okay. They love the idea of marriage, the mushy things, the love
idea.
on social media. Okay.
Mm,
And they think that marriage is all about, yeah, holding hands, kissing, looking into each other's eyes every day, all day, having sex, and we think that's all there is to marriage. Breakfast in bed, yeah, and we don't realize that there is more to marriage. If only, if only you knew the work in marriage. Yeah, there's a lot of work in it. You will take your time before you get in and make sure that you are prepared enough for that work. Because marriage is responsibility. Okay. A lot of times many singles are in a hurry to get married. I can't wait. I can't wait. I need to get married. But if you realize that this marriage thing, it is the grace of God. You enjoy your single life and you realize that you're actually not taking advantage of single. For example, when I was single, hmm, could I could go to anywhere I wanted, anytime I wanted, without anybody saying, "Where are you going to? What time are you coming back?" It's my life. It's my time. It's my everything. I wasn't accountable to anybody. It was just me. I remember
yeah.
years ago, I forgot something in the car. It was dark. It was about 7 p.m. at night. The boys were at the dining table. And I forgot something in my car. And I picked up my car keys, and I headed outside to open the door. Next thing I heard was, "Mommy, mommy, where are you going?" I'm like, can't I go out of my house again? Like, you guys should free me up, Jared. Everybody wants to know where you are going. So
Yeah.
when I was single, like nobody cared. As a single person, I could go out and come back and I might be hungry. I don't have energy to cook anything. I will sleep. But as a married person, I say that okay, I'm hungry. I'm not hungry. I'm going to go and sleep. What's going to happen to my children, my husband? In fact, in fact, sometimes in the morning when I'm making their breakfast for school, they would ask, "Mommy, What are we having for dinner? I'm like, guys, calm down. I don't even I've not got to figure that yet. You guys should be calming down. Even me, I don't know what we're going to for dinner.
Wow.
So why am I sharing all of this?
Wow.
For you to realize that, before you get into marriage, you need to there's a lot of work in it. How you know that you're ready for marriage is when you actually know when you're mature enough, right? And where you know what marriage is actually. You're clear about what marriage is all about. Because marriage is not child's play. It's not beans, like Nigerians would say. It's not that easy. Okay. Now I think we lost person that should join us again. So maturity cuts across not just physical maturity. Okay, like you're not a boy, you're not a man, or you're not a girl, you're not a woman. That's important. But maturity also cuts across. Your emotional maturity, intellectual maturity, social maturity, and financial maturity. What else? Spiritual maturity, right? Because all of these are important when you're thinking of who to get married to. Let's talk about spiritual maturity because that's actually very important. Okay, spiritual maturity talks about you actually understanding to start with understanding God, because God Himself is the creator, is the author of having a relationship with Him. If you think, if I mean, you cannot fully understand what marriage is about if you don't have a relationship with God, because He's the author of marriage. Marriage itself is a mystery, and people who are not born again, if you don't understand God or have a relationship with Him, the rules or the things that guide us in marriage, there will be nonsense to you, and that's the truth. When God says wives should submit to their own husband, you will revolt against that what the word of God says in that scripture. You revolt against it. It will not make sense to you. Why should I submit to my husband? That's the question, right? Even though the Bible says we should submit to one another, but it's you. If you're a child of God and you understand why God you would understand why God says what He's saying. The reason for this is orderliness. Spiritual maturity is very, very critical. You have a relationship, but you also know that the kind of person that I should get married to is somebody who is in sync with me spiritually. You won't go and marry an unbeliever. You will not be unequally you and unbeliever, right? So when you are clear about all of these things, when you have a solid relationship with God, when you're also mature, emotionally, socially, you can look after yourself. Some guys are so dirty, they cannot take care of themselves, and they're looking for girls, women, to look after them. I said that in my last video. You don't need a wife, you need a maid, right? You are not yet mature enough to look after yourself. So how do you become mature enough to look after other people? It's not going to be possible. Even as a woman, also, you can look after yourself. You can cook, you can clean, you're not domesticated, right? You're wondering, am I ready for marriage? If you cannot do all of these things, you're not ready for marriage. You will struggle in marriage. I know that yes, you can get a maid if you want, but the other responsibilities, who will look after your children? A maid? Marriage is a lot of work. And part of the responsibility of marriage also is parenting if you're choosing to have children. You've got to be mature in that area. Financial maturity. Are you financially mature? Because you cannot be in a marriage and not spend money. Where are you going to put the woman? Or where are you going to live as a couple? You pay rent or you buy your house or whatever it is. There are bills to be paid, right? So you cannot be in high school and say, I'm ready for marriage. There's a lot of work that goes into this. It's a lot of work. So financial maturity, emotional
Wow.
maturity. Can you forgive? Can you forgive? Are you the kind of person that people will hurt you and you will hold that thing in your heart malice for like another 3 months? You can't do marriage like that.
Wow.
You can't do marriage like that. So all of these things
Mm.
you need to bear them in mind. Okay, because of time, I'll quickly move on to other things. The other thing that you need to do that would help you to know whether you are ready for marriage, right, is when you understand what marriage is all about. Marriage is not it's not a contract. Marriage is a covenant. You don't go into it like you take it seriously because for life, God is a God of covenants. Okay, you just say, well, if it's not working, after 2 years, I'll just leave it, Jerry. I'll leave the man or I'll leave the woman. No, if you go into marriage with that mindset, that marriage is not going to work. It's not going to work. So you need to go into the mindset of marriage with, okay, we are here to make it work no matter what. So do you have an understanding of marriage?
Mm.
You shouldn't go into marriage until you understand, until you know and understand what God's purpose is for your life. Because if you go into marriage without understanding your own purpose, why did God create me? Why am I even alive? Why am I in Nigeria? Why am I in New Zealand? Why am I in this? Of what purpose? When you clearly know where you are going to, you know the right person that's going to go on that journey with you. I always tell people, discover your purpose for life before you discover your partner for life. Because people have a great deal. See, let me share a story because of time. I'll quickly finish on this question. There was this lady who was, I mean, she didn't discover God's was for her life before she got married, right? Fine, fine. Now she's been married for a few years, and then she realized, oh, God actually wants me to be in a to be a relationship coach to help people, in their marriages, in their relationship. And unfortunately for her, she got married to a person who is not interested in having anything to do with, relationship this, relationship that. And the guy practically told her, you know what, you need to stop this thing you're doing. It was hard, but she had to stop and began to pray that God, please touch my husband's heart. It doesn't have to be like that. If you're clear about God's purpose for your life, then you marry somebody who can help you fulfill that God's purpose. Who both of you can work together, and you both of you can multiply the purpose, the joint purpose of God's calling upon both of your lives. Or there was this gentleman also who had God's calling upon his life to be a pastor, to be a minister. And the woman he got married to, unfortunately, you know, does not want to be a pastor's wife. She divorced him. But if he was clear and had understanding before marriage, he would not have married her. See, marriage was God did not have a divorce plan when he created marriage, and so you need to be clear about all of these things and tick the boxes, tick the boxes, tick the boxes. Before you get yourself involved in any relationship at all. So I've just tried to summarize in a nutshell, things that you need to look out for before you tell yourself, okay, you know what, I think I'm ready for marriage. Okay, and most importantly, please love yourself, because if you don't have love for yourself, you can't give love to anybody else. Okay? When you truly love yourself, when you know who you are, you love yourself, you love who you are, right? You will not have low self-esteem. You will not be desperate to get into a relationship with someone. You will not change yourself. All right? And I hope that answers the question. Blessing, I think she's having issues with her internet. I'll just have a look at this question. Someone said, recently, Blessing, are you here?
And yeah, network is just
Yeah.
I can hear you. I think somebody had a question. It's the person said, um, recently I was watching a live show. Someone mentioned it is okay to be in relationship or marriage as long as you make your insecurities known to your partner, not what's your take on this?
Hmm. I mean, a lot of us have areas of insecurity in our lives, and when you're in a relationship with someone, in your relationship or marriage, I mean, both of you in marriage, I'll start with in marriage, both of you have become one. Okay? And there is nothing that you should not be able to disclose. There's nothing you should be hiding, ideally, from the person that you are married to. Okay? For example, it could be that you are insecure about, you know, your body, how you look like, right? I think that it's important it's okay for the other person to know, especially as for us ladies. Ladies, our physical, what we look like actually it matters to us a lot. Okay. And so if we are insecure about maybe you've got a dent on your face, or for example, I know if a lady who is bald, okay, she has no hair, we call it alopecia in medical terms, right? And if, for example, that lady, that's a cause of her insecurity, it's okay for her to let her husband know. I mean, definitely, I hope her husband would have known that oh, because I've got this particular insecurity, about my hair, but my head, I don't have any hair on my head. It makes me feel insecure, and so to manage my insecurity, She could say, I always wear a wig, for example. And the husband is aware of that, okay? But beyond that, the husband is able to actually go ahead and help her to be able to overcome those insecurities, because your insecurities sometimes would also, it has consequences. It could impact on your relationship with other people also. You could feel like, I don't want to go out, I feel like people are going to be looking at me somehow. All sorts of things, right? It could also impact on your relationship with your husband. For example, if as a woman you don't love yourself, you don't love or like what you look like. If you're with your husband, in the bedroom and you're having sex, you would struggle there because you feel like he's judging you. You feel like, oh, maybe he doesn't like me. Maybe he's thinking about this. You will be thinking about all sorts, right? So I think that it's important for whoever you are, in a relationship with, to know what you're struggling with. Why? Because then the person will understand why you are behaving the way you are behaving. Okay, but don't just stop there. It's important that you get help. Okay, do not remain insecure. Discover your true identity in Christ, because you are beautiful, you are wonderful, you are perfectly made. Whatever your weaknesses are, whatever it is that is making you feel insecure, okay, you are perfect in Christ. Hallelujah. It's important for me to state that, okay, and get help. If it's in form of therapy or counseling or whatever it is that that person needs help with, get help, right? And that's my take on this. Let your people. Why would you let the public know? Why do you want to tell the public? Okay, public, this is what what is happening to me. Unless until the point where you feel like you have healed from it. For example, the lady I'm talking about who had alopecia, for example, she had healed from the insecurity, from the judgment, from the name calling that people used to would say in the past, right? And she was able to actually come open to tell people about alopecia, and she's now beginning to even tell people, through the insecurity that she had in the past. She's beginning to also help people, and create more awareness about this thing called alopecia. So there's so much more that God can. You could develop. You could find purpose. You could find God's purpose for life. Or discover it through what you think is your insecurity. And when God delivers you from that insecurity, God will also help you to deliver other people from that insecurity. I hope that answers the question. If not, ask the question.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
And
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you clearly.
So I'm just going to ask the final question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So I'm just going to ask the last thing for tonight. So we don't have to nettle the answer. Because we do love. So I'm going to ask you, at what point in relationship should I tell my partner about or ask about so at some point? At
At
some
what
point
point
in the
do you
relationship,
ask?
should I tell in relationship, should I tell my partner about my past or ask about his past?
Okay. I mean, there are different types of past. It depends on the aspect of your past that you want to share. My past could be, for example, my childhood, like my primary school, my this, my that. But I'm thinking that what the person is actually asking is about, my ugly past, something like that. If things that I'm. So, what did you say, blessing?
Yeah, I think the ugly past, some things I've done, like some person, maybe some person for that she was, very young, all those, she was very thing. At one point, should a person, ask about the guy or talk about how
Okay, so yeah, I got the question, although I didn't quite catch what you said, blessing. But the question is, at what point should you tell the person about your ugly past, or the person should disclose their ugly past? I think that there is no particular time that you must tell that. There's no particular timeline, where you must, where it is that this is a point where you have to tell the person. What I think that worst case scenario before marriage, okay, before marriage, it's important that the person is aware of that of whatever it is. Why? Because if you are planning to get married to that person, right, it's important that that person knows what you've been through. Um, Ideally, you don't want the person hearing from a third party. For example, if you're a lady who, for example, you know, had how maybe you were raped, for example, or somebody violated you, for example, um, you know, at whatever point in your life, right? And maybe if you or something very embarrassing happened in your life, and a few people know about it, right? If you're in a relationship with a guy who he's a serious guy, he's planning to get married to you, you guys already you are working towards marriage, you're headed towards marriage. It's important that you find a good time to actually express what has happened in your past to you. See, if you don't, and the person hears it from a third party, it's going to affect the person's trust. The person can even say, "So you hid this from me all along. Were you wanting to cheat me, or were you wanting to, lure me, or you're making the person make a wrong decision, based on a false impression of you, of who you are, right? But if you're in a relationship with someone who actually really loves you, your past, your ugly past, is not going to affect or change the love that the person has for you. No matter what you have been through, the person who is supposed to be for you will stick with you, irrespective of what you've been through. I remember when my husband and I were still friends. I mean, we were just still getting to know each other. One of the things that attracted me to him was his vulnerability. We were not in a relationship at the time, but he chose to begin. I think he probably had an idea that, okay, I really like this girl, and we've been good friends for a while. And he felt like, okay, I think I'm okay to share what I've been through in the past, my previous relationships and all. So I didn't have to probe or ask him. He was vulnerable enough to give that information to me. And I didn't judge him for that. I saw it as really attractive to someone who is transparent, someone who was open, someone who was down to earth. And I wouldn't say, oh, because you have done this and this and this. No, 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 no. It's not my place to judge. As long as that he was no longer doing what he was doing presently, what is in the past is the past. Even Bible text tells us all things are passed away, all things have become new. So if you're in a relationship with someone who actually loves you for who you are, the person will not judge you based on what you have done in the past, as long as that is not impacting on what you're doing currently. You're not currently, you don't continue to behave in that behavior or whatever it is, right? And if for example, I've heard about situations where a lady, for example, had an abortion and lost her womb in the process, and she made this note to the person who was going to get married to her. You know what? This is my situation. This is my ugly face. I don't have a womb, so it means that we don't have any hope of having a child in the future, right? She told the guy point blank, and the guy was like, "No matter what, I'm still going to marry you. Worst case scenario, who adopt or find a surrogate or something." The guy still stuck with her. So my point is, if somebody breaks up, let's not go. This is not meant for you. But long story short, if you are planning to get married to person, before you walk down to the altar, you let the person know about what has happened to you. That's secret. If it's possible, if you know that it's going to impact on your relationship or your marriage in the future, okay? So avoid stories that touch the heart. Please let the person know. I hope that helps. Blessing, are you there? I think we've lost Blessing. She's There's possibly a relation an internet issue, but I hope that you have been blessed. For those of you who are still online, or I can see a few of you online, I hope you have been blessed by this. Blessed, are you back?
I'm back. Yeah, thank you so much. Even the network has been so. I mean, it was a whole lot of content, and I believe that some persons are going to see this video and be so blessed by the content that was dished out tonight. Thank you so much for this second. I really appreciate it. And hopefully, we can just break the video into different, like short videos, so that people can get some questions, some sections of the question and answer. And thank you so much for your time. We will be doing more and more again, like ensure that we get that is always happening in Rema. I mean, educate people. If people know the right thing to do, you have less paid marriages. So there will not be statistic of so our goal is also reduce the statistic of paid marriages, of divorce, and those kind of things. Thank you so much, Ma. I hope that everyone that joined the meeting, I hope we're blessed. And if I do, I'm going to share this video to somebody out there to watch it. If you're in a relationship, it would be good for you to watch with your partner so that you guys are on the same page, you are aligned to each other, you have the same dream. Thank you so much. I hope to do this session. See you next month. And next session will be next month. And please don't miss it. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. It's going to be amazing. Thank you so much. Do you have anything to say, Ma?
I just want to appreciate you too, Blessing. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for everything. You have all the efforts for designing our flyer for us, for moderating these, despite the technical difficulty of the internet. Thank you so much. Really appreciate everything. God bless you. God bless you. I'm blessed to have you. God bless you in Jesus' name. The other thing I was going to mention was also my books. I've got some books. We talked about red flags today, so I've got a book, Relationship Red Flags, 10 signs that you're in a wrong relationship. It's on seller. Okay, it's also on Amazon. 10 signs that you're in a wrong relationship red flags. You'll get the book. I also have a book. We talked about long distance relationship today, but I also have another book called Slide Into My DM. Slide Into My DM. Okay, how to find 10 tips to find and keep your true love online. Okay, it's on Seller and it's on Amazon. So try and get the book, right? And one of my books just recently came out. I haven't actually publicized. So if you're watching this, this is this is a way to just sort of hear it firsthand from me, right? The book is titled Singles with Wrinkles. Singles with Wrinkles. For the 5 important some questions that singles ask with life-changing answers. Singles with Wrinkles. Okay. So that is also on Amazon and Stella, right? So I think I'm gonna end it here. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Yeah, I'm gonna end the broadcast. Is that okay, Blessing?
Okay. Thank you.